So I'm working here with my grandmother's floor lamp, and it's got a switch here, three-way switch, and it's been sort of intermittent. You can see it sort of flickers, and I'm gonna look into it and replace the switch. It'll sit there and flicker on and off, and it could be a fire hazard. I'm not sure if it overheats, if there's a bad connection in there. But the first thing I'm going to do is take off the lampshade and unscrew this medallion or whatever at the top. And I'm told this arrow has some significance to the Pi Beta Phi sorority. And I think there's some kind of code to it. I think depending on which direction the arrow is pointing, I think it sends some messages, or you can, if you happen to be in a sorority, you know what the meanings are when the arrow is pointing in certain directions. That's just what I've heard. I don't know for sure. So anyway, I've got the shade off. We can kind of see more about what's going on now. So the switch is either one light on or one light here. I think there's a bulb out. It's supposed to be one on, two on, or three all on. But evidently this bulb here is burned out. Let me check on that first. Yeah, you can hear it. I'm going to change that bulb before I can do anything further. So I got some bulbs here, 60 watt. Let's see if I want to make sure it is just a bulb in this case. Pretty old lamp here. Let's see what we got now. So I got one. The switch is a little touchy, acting up there. And then there's two. And then the third position is all three. And then it goes back to off. And so what I want to do is replace the switch. And I think I have one around here somewhere. Here's the switch I want to use. And so the first thing I want to do is unplug the lamp and make sure there's no power going to it. And now I'm going to crack into this. I'm not sure what to expect really. But it shouldn't be too hard. I'm going to go ahead and remove the bulbs because probably would end up breaking one of them if I don't. But now I know all the bulbs are good. So I'll set those aside. And I know the sockets work. And so I think what I'm going to do is take this off. Let's see, I'm going to zoom in a little there. I think if I take this center nut off here, maybe this top will come off. Don't know. It's got a knurled section at the bottom there. And sure enough, it does rotate. It's not really tight. So that comes off. Yes, sure enough, here it is. I take the top off here, and there's the switch. Let's see if I can hold that up where you can see it. I'll position it better so you can see the switch from the camera angle. Here you go. And I'll rotate it around. So this is the switch I want to replace. And this is the switch I bought, hoping it would fit. And there are some details on the back here. I'll capture that better and put it on video. But here's the wiring, black, blue, and red. And pretty cool, I got the same wiring here. The switch is a little different shape, but I'm just gonna bet that the red, blue, and red, or the red, blue, and black wires are the same connection. So I'm just going to go ahead and, there's another knurled nut down here that holds the switch in. Take that off. It comes right out. And looks like kind of a mess in here of tape. I can tell you, I'm not going to use electrical tape when I put it back. I'm going to use some heat shrink tubing. This is looks like some really old electrical tape. I don't even know if you can buy that kind of stuff anymore. It's like cloth, but I guess that's what they used to do in the olden days. And I'm guessing this thing's not even factory. It's the way it's taped. It looks like it might have been replaced before. But somebody really did a good job of twisting the wires here. That's looks nice how they wired it up. It looks like they may have done this before. And knowing my grandmother, she probably took it to a lamp shop and had this switch professionally replaced. So I'm just going to remove all the tape. It should be a simple matter of disconnecting these wires and then replacing the switch with mine. The tape kind of complicates the deal here. This makes it kind of hard to get the wires out of here. But I have no doubt I'll have it connected and working. Get some threads of the tape there. So I see the, let's see. See the three connections, and then they have like this third connection here. They're all taped up together. It's the neutral, I guess. I'm gonna get rid of that too and redo that. I'm gonna use heat shrink tubing on everything with crimp connections instead of what they have here. So the first thing I'm going to do is install the switch into the hole. Now this switch has a nut you can set the depth, it looks like. And it looks like this one did as well. I'll tell you, the old switch looks a lot more beefy, a lot heftier than this new one. I'm going to go ahead and let the switch stick out as far as possible, make it easier to get to. And I think I'm going to use the old nut because it is actually brass. The new one looks like it's some other alloy that is colored to be brass. Well, I don't think the threads are the same, so I'll have to go back to the one that came with it. The old switch actually is brass. Looks like it's pretty high quality. No telling how old it is. So I'm tightening the switch up so when I turn the switch it won't rotate in the hole. Got that going, okay. So now I just disconnect these wires and connect mine in. And so what I'm using is this crimp tool here and some crimp ferrules. And so what I do is select the proper size for the job. Looks like this size right here will work for me. And so the red wire looks like it goes to a single socket. And so I will make, these wires are pre-stripped, but they have the insulation left on them. And the reason for that is so you can twist them. Instead of twisting the wire before you pull off the insulation. And so what I want to do is then twist these two wires together. And I'll slip a ferrule in here. I think the twist kind of made it, of the old wire, made it a little hard to get that wire on. Try it one more time here. If you don't have these crimp ferrules, you can use wire nuts. I've even seen where people solder. I just like these. These are really solid connections. And you see there's a little bit of wire sticking out the end. Go ahead and cut the end of the ferrule off. Later I'm going to go back and put heat shrink tubing on that. So the next one I'm going to do is the blue one. Of course the blue one here is to the other two sockets. So it has, there's two wires here. And let's see if I can get the blue wire to hook on there. Again, it's got a little bit of insulation, so you just twist it a little and pull it off. This one I'm not going to twist because I think that might make it too fat. And this one I'm going to step up to a larger diameter ferrule, if I can find one here. Since it's 3 wires now instead of 2. Go to a little larger. There are some wire nuts used in the connection here. And those are pretty good. I just don't have any wire nuts that small. So I'll just use this crimp tool. And again, there's some wire sticking out. I'm going to cut a little off of there. Get a clean edge there. So the next wire in the switch is the black one. And it's coming actually from the power. You see it's from the brown cord that's coming from the plug, the power plug. I'm going to clean these wires up a little. And if I had a new cord, I'd probably use it because the cord's kind of short. But for now, I'm just going to go with repairing the switch. So I can tell the black wire of the switch is where the power comes in. And the first click goes to the red wire. The second click goes to the blue wire. And the third click goes to the red and blue wires. I can just tell all that by how it was wired. And so I'll include the drawing. And I'm going to cut that off too. There's a little extra sticking out. So I've got the connections made. And there's the neutral. Let's see if I can put got a large crimp ferrule I can put on that one. Maybe you can go to a smaller size here. Let's see. And I notice the plug doesn't appear to be polarized. Let's see. Yeah, the plug is polarized. So I'm going to confirm that right now. Because you definitely don't want the hot wire to the outside of the socket. So I got the ohm meter set here. Just going to do a quick resistance reading. And so the wide plug is the neutral, and the narrow plug is the hot. So I'm going to go on the neutral plug, and I expect to see a 0 resistance here, and I do. So it's wired correctly. It was wired correctly before, and it's just a good thing to check to make sure it was wired correctly while you have it open. So now I'm going to crimp this. Trim a little off. There's little sharp pieces that stick out. You don't want that in there. So I'm done with the connections. Now I just need to insulate them. So I've got 4 connections. I'm going to put heat shrink tubing on there. Got a heat shrink gun right here. I'm going to plug that in. And just pick a size of tubing. I want to go over the insulation as well. Fair amount. Just to play it safe. And so what I do, I've got a long tube of it, I can just bend that over and I see where the end of the connection is. I usually go about a 1/4 inch or more, 3/8 longer. I'll go ahead and make this connection. So the heat shrink tubing, the way it works, when you heat it up, it shrinks back to its original size, and it's a good insulator. And it's not real bulky. So what I like to do is you can pinch it on the end once it's hot. And when you pinch it, it seals the end there. And so I'll just continue with that process. Fold that over and go about 3/8 more. Shrink it down. And you can just pinch it, fold it over. It's hot, but it's not that hot. Got one more from the switch here. And I like to go further down with the heat shrink. It actually provides a strain relief for the wired connections. even though it's really not that necessary in this situation, because once you close this up, it's not moving around. And I have one more here. It's pretty big. I don't know. Yeah, this heat shrink covers it nicely. This one's neutral, so I'm not that concerned about it, but I like to keep everything insulated. So here we go. All the connections are made back. These wire nuts, they're tight. I'm gonna just leave those alone. What I am a little puzzled about is, oh, I see. There's just a short piece of wire here. The brown. This cord's been changed at some point. That's kind of odd, and I guess they left this switch connection alone. And I'm gonna leave it alone too for now. But next time I put in a cord, I'm gonna go back and redo everything. So I've got that back together. And I'll tighten this up. Didn't have to, it wasn't very tight, so I'm just gonna leave it hand tight. And I'm taking a look down in the sockets. They look pretty good. Like they don't look that, they're not corroded or anything. These pieces are, the plastic pieces are cracked from the heat, I guess. And now I'm going to install the bulbs again. And I'll test it out. Let's see. It might actually come on when I plug it in because I don't really know the state of the switch at the moment. Okay. There's the first bulb. 2 here. And the third position should be all 3. Perfect. And the next position should be off. So it's nice you can choose your level of lighting that you want. Pretty cool, I like it. So I'll just put this back together. I believe it went this way. And I will put a little wrench on that, keep that from backing out. And then I'll put the shade back on. And then the arrow here, the Pi Beta Phi secret messaging arrow. One day I might figure out what it means. Doubt it. There we go, it's ready to go. The lamp's prepared, and hope you enjoyed the video and hope it was something you found useful, and good luck with your projects. So here's a view of the front package of the switch that I was using. The SPTT means single pole, triple throw, in case you're wondering. So here's a look at the back of the switch package. case you want to read a little about it. You can just pause it and zoom in.